A Court of Thorns and Roses in Social Penetration Theory. A Court of Thorns and Roses is a book series by Sarah J. Maas. In this video, I'll be talking about the social penetration and how it affects the relationship between Feyre and Nesta and Feyre and more. There are 4 main steps to social penetration theory. The first one is observation. Looking at this in reference to Feyre and more, the first time you see this occurring is when Feyre first visits the Night Court in a court of mist and fury. They get introduced and they don't speak much, but they are still getting to know each other a little bit. For Nesta and Feyre, since they're sisters, they first are introduced when they're growing up wealthy and they see how they interact in that environment. Then they once again almost redo that observation process while they're growing up poor. And then once again, after Nesta is turned into Fae, it happens again after the cauldron. The next step is the exploratory exchange. This one is like a little bit deeper than small talk, but not like super deep and personal yet. For Feyre and more, it's seen mostly throughout A Court of Mist and Fury. There's some more communication, but it's nothing super deep and personal that they're like directly communicating with each other. So Feyre learns about more, but generally through other people, and when they communicate, it can be a bit deeper than just like normal small talk, but it's nothing super substantial. For Feyre and Nesta, this stage is almost the most common. It's also most easily seen in A Court of Wings and Ruin. So an example of this is it goes past small talk when they're talking about Elaine, but Nesta doesn't really ever disclose any information about herself. The next step is affective exchange. This is pretty much deep conversations and open communication and things like that. So for Feyre and more, this is mostly seen in A Court of Wings and Ruin. The most definable moment is when more comes out to Feyre, where she is disclosing the information about herself, which deepens that relationship. In reference to Feyre and Nesta, this isn't a super big one. They never really, complete the stage, but an example of them almost getting there is when Nesta accidentally is vulnerable and she's telling Feyre almost about her PTSD and why she can't take baths. And it's just, you see it a bit more throughout A Court of Silver Flames, where Nesta apologizes to Feyre and things like that. A lot of progress that needs to be made in this stage. The final stage is a stable, so you're focusing more on like that relationship where you can easily go and disclose that information. So for Feyre and more, this definitely happens by the end of A Court of Wings and Ruin, and you see it throughout the rest of the series. An example of like kind of seeing this is Feyre mentions that in A Court of Silver Flames that Mor is one of her closest friends, and it's kind of showing that the level of communication they now have. For Feyre and Nesta, this never really occurs. They never really get to that stable stage. So how this affects their communication is, so with Mor, their communication is pretty healthy, very functional, and it's very productive. So they communicate well and they have those deep conversations. So with Nesta, pretty much all of this communication is fairly rare, dysfunctional, and there's a lot of miscommunications and such that occur throughout all of the books. Even as they progress through the stages, it takes a lot more work and effort. The next part is relational development. So Feyre and more, they start their relationship pretty strong and they keep that going pretty consistently over the way. Even though they have some conflicts, even though they don't tell each other everything, there's still quite a bit of that honest communication that keeps them close. With Nesta and Feyre, they have a fairly weak relationship to begin with. They don't communicate much. As they do progress, they begin to resolve conflict, but even in that case, there's still much improvement needed because they don't communicate well necessarily. So the outcome of these relationships for Mor and Feyre is a very strong friendships and becoming very close friends. As for Nesta and Feyre, it's more of them healing their relationship as sisters.